We Are AIA Awareness in Art is a non-profit association with an off space in the Löwenbräukunst areal in Zurich. It was opened in autumn 2021. And Martina Huber is the founder of AIA, and she's the first voice being interviewed in this special series of Swizz Art Biz Goes Löwenbräu. Welcome to the show. I'm Tanya König, and hi, Martina.
Hello, Tanya. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for taking your time. So congratulations on opening We Are Awareness in Art. I mean, launching it in autumn 2021. I was there for the launch and it was packed. So it's going incredibly well.
Thank you. Yes, I mean, I had this idea already for quite some time, and it's now great to see that because one thing is to have a vision, and then the other thing is to how basically do you launch it, and it's beautiful to see that it takes its shape, and that the most beautiful thing that people are very interested in what we are doing, what the artists are doing.
So tell us, what exactly is the idea behind AIA?
So for me, it's very important that we are participating and that art can face today's issues that we are facing. And artists, and especially through the art, we can experience and can get to know social political issues, for example, and the holistic view of the artist brings these topics as well to us on a more emotional level. And so that's the first part, that we are creating shows with artists for social-political questions and environmental questions that are part of it. And then the other part is the education, because once you have this emotional openness, and you can, especially as well with kids, then let them know more about these topics and the art. What does the artist do, and what did he think? What was the idea behind the work? It's very important, because then they will be the future leaders of tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. And it feels like you're hitting a nerve right now. All your shows that have been, really, people are coming, which is sometimes unusual within the art world, that the space is full.
For me, it's important that we create and curate shows that are not for the 1%, that we are doing it for everyone. And I think that makes the difference, and people feel welcome. I mean, when people are coming, we are giving them explanations about what we are doing, and I think these topics are very actual, and it's important that we are facing them, and that we are communicating about it.
Mm-hmm. So your current show is called Your Mouth or The Mouth is for Speaking. It's open until May 2022, and it deals with the topic of freedom and human rights. And you say that the artists in the exhibition reveal cracks that no longer can be overlooked. How do they do that?
So The Mouth is for Speaking, and every artist interpreted or translated what does it need to be able to speak up and stand up for his own rights. So every artist translated this question in its own medium. So you've seen there is no oral voice in the show. It's very much about what does it need to speak up. So we have Luke Willis Thompson. We have this beautiful photograph that he has produced last year for the nomination of the Nobel Prize of Peace from Black Lives Matter movement. And you can see in the photograph that the important part of breath and the breathing, that is important to be able to speak up. Mm-hmm. And there is Abdulnasser Gharem, an artist from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And his work and his canopy stands very much for the murderer of Jamal Khashoggi. And he he promotes and Abdulnasser Gharem stands up for the freedom of thought. That
what does that mean?
in some countries you don't have the freedom of speech, and he says that it's very important to cultivate the freedom of thought, basically, and in order for not being taken over by propaganda and still keeping his own the own worldview, basically, and as well in the work as an artist. Another important part is as well the two Swiss positions we have in the exhibition. So we have the work from Swiss artist Céline Baumgartner that reveals another part of what does it need to stand up. And it's a part of how do you stand up if you're not able anymore mentally and physically to stand up for your rights. And it has very much to do with a dark chapter of Swiss history that we know actually very little about. And the installation has been done with the choreographer Reut Naum and with Gabriela.
So who is Gabriela?
Gabriela, she has been she's one of the survivors of the administrative detention, and she has been torn away from her mom when she was very little and put in a home. And all this happened basically from 1930 until 1981 in Switzerland. And then these children had to live in homes. They have to work on farms. And a lot of them have basically been, 50% of them have been abused. And she's 56 now. And she's not well. And she has 50% of invalidity, but she has to fight for it. And she's still depending from the same department that has torn her away from her mom because she has never been able to do an education. And now she's not able to work through all the bad experiences she had to go through. And this is, she's 56, she's not that old. And it's as well to remember not only what you need to speak up, but that as well in Switzerland we are dealing with these issues.
And how do you find stories like these?
It's the curation of every show. It's a lot of work. That's as well makes actually, I think, a difference, because often I hear, "Oh, I'm going to come to your gallery," but that's a difference between, I think, what we do and an art gallery, because the curation of the exhibition is very important. So what does it mean? So as well the research for every show and the thinking behind. So we collaborate with experts from different fields, human rights, with the Robert F. Kennedy Human Rights Foundation. We collaborate with, for this show, with the Center of Competence of Human Rights Study from University of Zurich. So it's important to create this connection and to do interdisciplinary shows. And then it's about seeing, and having seeing which artist would fit and work together, and as well to give the space to every work. That's a very important thing.
And this show, was it curated by you or co-curated by you?
This show I curated. Yes, the future shows this year it will be a co-curation, exactly.
And you you didn't go through a typical art career. So I feel, is that what brings a different perspective, or why you feel a bit more free to use art differently somehow?
The role of art has always been, many artists have been socially engaged. And it's true, I'm not coming from an art background, and what I do in general is what I feel is right. And maybe as well, when for me it's important that I do something where I see that I can do a change. It's in whatever medium it's possible, and for me art has this power to make a change and to speak about these topics and to teach as well, and to make these educational programs for the children is a very important part of it as well. And maybe as you said, it's a different approach, and as I'm not coming from this background, I'm very open and curious as well to listen to experts, to listen to different perspectives, and then I try to integrate them wherever I can to create a very holistic view of it.
Mm-hmm. And you also mentioned interdisciplinarity. So you work with universities. I just wonder how, what triggered you? When did you decide this is what I'm going to do? Or was it probably it's more of a process, but yeah.
I was always quite entrepreneurial. So my first company, I started it during my studies in communication and journalism. 12 years ago now. And I've always had this feeling that I need to do something and that I want to follow my vision and my thoughts. And one morning, indeed, I got up and I realized that I need to, I love art. And for me, I don't want to do art for the art market. For me, it's really to show art and to bring it closer to the public. And it was just actually a change inside of me to realize as well that I want to do something for that I want actually other people to be able to participate the inspiration I do get from the arts.
Mm-hmm. But so you're not doing art for the art market. However, you still need to sustain your space. Is it mainly through sponsoring?
Well, that's a very good question. Thank you actually for bringing the question up. Well, a very important part is as well the looking for grants. And we have now the first 3 associations that support us. But as you say, we have to sustain, and the work are for sale, but it's not the focus. Let's say the idea is really to get the funds in order to be able to do these curatorial programs and the educational programs that are very important for what we do.
Mm-hmm. And there you're mostly covered at the moment, or
yes. Well, I must say for the moment I still cover a lot of it with my savings, but I do really hope that as well through the interest that that is really here for what we are doing, that we will be able to get the funds to continue what we are doing.
Yeah, because your space is free, right? To
the public.
Yeah.
Yes. That was a very important part, because in the beginning I thought, I don't want the white cube. I want to do public art. I want to do art for the public. And then quickly I realized that actually it's not that easy. And I'm very grateful that I got this opportunity in Löwenbräu to have this space, and it's the ex-parquet space. So the space has a long history, and I'm very grateful that I can continue actually the history of the space. And and that is free. It's first very important because I want people to see it, and second, through the collaborations we are doing, we are bringing in people that would normally maybe not enter let's say an art space. And it was as well with the kids. We had, for the first education program we did about gender equality, we had 80 kids, and we had this survey if they would come back or if they have been, and actually none of the kids have been in Löwenbräu before. And this triggered me as well, that to bring in order that we do these collaborations with our different partners and communities as well, to make them first feel welcome, that they can develop the interest for the arts and for the different topics.
Sometimes I feel maybe art players or institutions are planning to reach out to a wider audience, but somehow the message doesn't get out there. So how do you make sure that people even know that it exists and that people come and children come?
Yes, the institutions they're working on it as well, and as we do, and it's we are getting in touch with them. And we are contacting them, and it's a lot of work to be in touch with everyone and to make the connection. But it's a very important part, because that's basically what we want to do. We want to spread the message and to show these works and speak about these topics and to make change. And for that, the important thing is to be able to reach out to these people and to the different to the schools. And
so you do approach schools, for instance?
We approach schools, and we are having this collaboration with MNA Center Lilienberg, where basically they welcome kids and teenagers that come to Switzerland without parents to find asylum. And we are reaching out to them, and we are then preparing. We prepare special programs and events for them so that they feel welcomed.
Mm-hmm. So it's not only people that live here, but even because your topics of your nonprofit are around human rights, social political issues, gender issues. So you don't only communicate about it, but you also try to
involve them. Yes, because I think the participation, the involvement is very important. One thing is just to communicate, and the other thing is to look for a dialogue, and so that they can develop the interest, and as well for the arts, because it's so powerful what the artists are doing, and it can reach you. It goes straight to your heart and less to your mind. So that's as well why I think that we have all this collaboration with the universities and other foundations, because art can. This medium and the artists, they have this holistic view and can bring a totally different perspective to something.
And sometimes people feel like they wouldn't understand, and they're like, oh no, art is so, elitist, hard to understand. I'm not going to go there because I'm going to just, look stupid somehow.
Yes, and that's exactly where we try to make the difference. When everyone that comes into our space gets welcomed, we will give them a booklet with explanation about what we are doing, and we speak to them. I think the human connection is as well very important, and so that they can, as I said, feel welcome, and that they feel like, as well as they can ask questions. And we did now as well we have our tables now and books. So we did a kind of, I don't know how you say in English, a Buchecke.
A book corner.
A book corner, exactly, where people can sit and where they can take their time to read about with the books and the research that the artists did about their work. And because it's a pity that when you go somewhere and you don't know if you can ask something or if you can sit down. And I think that's really the point where we want to make the difference. That they can remain, they can ask, they can do their own research about the topics in order to make a change as well.
So it's somehow it's sometimes even small changes.
Yes, I think so. It doesn't. It's a human connection, and it's normal that when you go somewhere, it's the same as when I came here. You welcome me, you showed me around, and I immediately felt welcome when I came to see you.
Yeah, no, I must say when I was at two of your openings, I could tell that you were very, even though you're so busy with so many people. When I came, you were still like, oh, let me show you, let me explain you that. And you took your time. So definitely I can tell that, that you really care.
Yeah, I just have this deep passion for it. And, you know, it's so beautiful that for the first time in my life, I can say I get up in the morning. It's a hell amount of work, but I know why I'm doing it. And I think this deep passion for just trying in the possibilities we have or I have to make a difference. And I think as long as you have this passion for what you do and you know why you're doing it and you're bringing this enthusiasm and this passion in it, I think people they're listening and they are able and willing to learn, not to learn because it's but to get to know more about something.
So you say that you now you feel like you're passionate about something. So it took some time to find somehow your calling.
Yes, indeed. I mean, I've always loved the arts and literature as well due to my studies, but it's, you know, I think to have this interdisciplinary work and first the work with artists it gives me a lot. And they're these creative minds and what they think and how they think about something. I think an artist can really make a change. And we have as well, when you see Václav Havel, that is an artist as well, and when he got the president and the independency of Czech, and even now with the Ukraine, I think artists they have this creativity, and that is very important to see and to think about something from a different angle.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned, Ukraine. I mean, this is something that is just happening, developing right now. And your space was there before and just touching exactly on these topics that are now also in danger somehow, values.
Yes, I mean, you know, the mouth is for speaking. I've been working on this show for 2.5 years and it developed through time. And yes, and this war, you know, it's very close to us and we are in solidarity with what's going on, and it touches all of us, and we try to make a change and to see what we can do. In general, it's important, I think, to bring our attention to people that are not able to speak up because their voice got silenced, by the state or by whatever is going on in the world. And it's important to stand up and to speak up and to support people that are speaking up. And it can, and we are experiencing this now very close, where that's a topic that it's up to date and actual all the time. It's as I mentioned before, in Switzerland or in different countries, it's important. I think a very important part. It's as well to listen, and that's very beautiful in Ishita Chakraborty's work as well in the current show. She asks us to listen to the voice of Farid, that found asylum in Switzerland. And when he speaks about his journey and about his experiences of his own point of view. So as Olivia Lang, the cultural critic said, how do you speak up if no one is listening to you? So the part of listening is as well very important. And it remains important.
Mm-hmm. That's the part we can do who are maybe a bit more privileged.
Exactly, to listen and to pay attention to these things.
Your space at Löwenbräu is quite new, and before you weren't even thinking about having a space. It's an old factory, Löwenbräu, turned into a hub for contemporary art in Zurich. How does it differ for you to be in that space? If you think about, or how does this space differ from other spaces in Zurich or places?
Well, first, it's beautiful to be in a community and to be in the Löwenbräu community and with the institutions and the galleries, and yet to have these exchanges as well. So it's that you're not feeling alone, no? You know that there is. It's the same about a vision. When you start something, you are alone, but actually you think you're alone, but actually you're not. Many people share what you're doing, and it's the same in Löwenbräu. I'm very grateful because people are and the other institutions they stand up and speak up as well about these issues, and it's a great support actually to be, and that's why I'm very grateful for being in the Löwenbräu. And I think that makes a difference because you know that you're not already to start something new from scratch. It's a lot of work, but then knowing that if there is a difficulty or something, that you know that you can call and you can ask for help, and even if it's just a conversation, you know, it really helps and it makes a change.
Mm-hmm. And within that factory, I mean, there are galleries, this non-profit, there are institutions. Is there also room for collaboration?
We did that already a few times, do collaborations with Kunstallee and the Migros Museum, and when we invite different communities that they basically come, and then we use the synergies we have. That's really beautiful.
You mentioned you had this artist from Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, who did the artwork to kind of remember Jamal Khashoggi, and this must be hard for him to live, to stay in his country and speaking up.
Yes, you know, one of the first things I asked him was like, how does it come that you stay in Riyadh? And actually, he's doing a lot for the community in Riyadh, and he creates this safe space for artists of all arts to come over and to cultivate the freedom of thought. And I have great respect for what he's doing. But it's very important, as much as working as we do the work with the children and educational programs and activities. He stays there to speak up as well as in order of promoting the freedom of thought.
And isn't it dangerous for him now to have this peace here? And
you know, he had this huge work at this beautiful work at Art Basel Unlimited, the huge installation that is about the murder of Khashoggi. And yes, I mean, it's not, you know, all these artists and that are activists in their souls as well. It's dangerous to be, either if you're in Russia, if you're in Cuba, you know, they're often having a threat. But I think it's my respect really goes to them, because we are very privileged of being in Switzerland, and it's not everywhere the case that you can speak up, you know, and stand for the freedom of speech.
And I feel like they have the courage because they have a reason to speak. I mean, freedom is not free. You have to fight for it somehow.
Yes, totally. And, you know, I don't know if you know about the song Strange Fruit from Billie Holiday.
Yes.
And it's really beautiful, you know, how she speaks up and how she sang this song about all the lynch murders in the southern part of North America. And, you know, she, as well, when she died, she had the
cuffs.
Yeah, she got, you know, even the police was still teasing her on her deathbed because of this song, you know. But she stands up and she speaks up, and my deep respect for everyone that is doing that.
And we still listen to the song.
We still listen to the song. You see, it went on, and it got from generation to generation, and that's a beautiful thing with the arts, because it touches us on an emotional level.
You meet so many artists, you work with many of them. I'm sure there are tons of encounters you have or stories to tell about them. But can you maybe pick one just to give us a taste?
Yes, with pleasure. Well, there are many, but I'm going to take the one from just came to my mind with the artist Kiluanji Kiahenda. He's from Angola and lives between Luanda, so the capital, and Lisbon. And we had the pleasure to show his photographs that are called Redefining the Power. And he spoke as well about a different work that he conceived and produced during his stay at at his residency in Venice. And he said that the Italians often they say, oh, we have nothing to do with colonial history. We have never colonized a country. It's a little bit the same. I see similarities as well to Switzerland. And he did these sculptures. He took these very European sculptures and then he put a condom on them. The work is called The Isle of Venus. And
how come?
Yeah, I really love his humor, his taste of humor in his work. So basically, that often when we say, "Oh, we have nothing to do," or this fear is coming up, and yeah, it closes us from a dialogue, and it shows. Well, condom has as well two sides. First is a protection. On the other side, it shows, especially in this work, that when you can't breathe and no dialogue can happen, no. And if there is no way of communicating, we can't find and look for a common solution.
Mm-hmm. So he found out that Venice actually was built by
black slaves.
So
yes, exactly. So whole Europe was taking advantage of the colonization.
Even though sometimes maybe they were not active, but still active in other ways.
Oh, yes, totally. Same in Switzerland.
Mm-hmm. So you work a lot with international artists. At the same time, you're also raising awareness for environmental issues. So I'm just thinking about shipping art and that footprint. So how do you do it?
So normally we try to produce them in Switzerland if possible, and then look for a way that if a transportation comes to Switzerland anyway, or even to Germany, that we then can do a group transport, let's say, for artwork, so that we are not first. It's as well, it's very much about ecology, but it as well at the same time, it saves you on a financial spot as well.
Mm-hmm. If you then produce stuff here, so in this case, the artist would tell what their vision is and their concept, and then you would try to find someone here that can put it into.
Yes, for the printing, typically we did this for the last show. Yes.
Mm-hmm. What about the Jamal Khashoggi?
The canopy.
The canopy.
Yeah. So this work came from Köln, from the gallery. So it was already in Europe, and the same we then for the transport back. It's when they're coming to Art Basel, they are gonna take it back then.
Ah, yeah, makes sense. So let's look a bit ahead, because you said the Mouthpiece for Speaking took you 2.5 years in the making. So you're already planning further shows with topics called Back to the Roots, Decolonize Nature, or on cyber surveillance. So what can we expect, and what does it mean, decolonize nature?
Yeah, so first, due to COVID, it was a sad thing, and on the other hand as well, it was a great thing for me because I had more time to do my research and to plan the launch of Awareness in Art. And yes, so when you're doing the opening of one show, you need to have already the concept and the research done for the next. So the next show, it's called Back to the Roots, Decolonize Nature, and it's about our worldview and about how our colonial history basically marks the worldview regarding Mother Earth and the environment. And it brings up, actually, the artists they bring up these topics in the work that we're going to show.
Can you give us a taste or a hint?
It's not public yet, but of course I can. There will be a work from Uriel Orlov that has done a lot of research about botanical plants and their names, and how basically these names in their original language on the African continent has been forgotten because of the Europeans coming and giving them all the Latin names. So that's one part, and it includes as well very much the indigenous knowledge. So that's a traditional ecological knowledge. That's another important part of the show and the works that we're gonna show.
Oh, it sounds very interesting.
And it's a collaboration. So this show, it's a collaboration. It's a co-curated show with Gianni Jetzer. And then the educational program will be done in collaboration with Robert F. Kennedy Human Rights and the Center of Competence of Human Rights Studies of University of Zurich.
Again,
Yes, again. I'm very grateful that they're still part of our show, and the students of the ZHW Forschungsgruppe für Umwelt und Bildung. They are doing research about the communication, about sustainability and environmental issues, and especially about the effectiveness of educational programs.
Cyber surveillance is in the show after.
Exactly. That's going to open in October, and that's going to be a collaboration, co-curation with Mediengruppe Bitnik. And in order to dig deeper into these topics of cyber surveillance, capitalism, what happens with our data, and the surplus of data that is around, that basically we are not giving as well to these societies from Silicon Valley. They are taken, and this invisible data and all this information, and especially what can happen with it, will be the topic of the show in October.
In October, so the one on Back to the Roots, Decolonize Nature, will be during summer.
Yes, exactly. It's going to be from June to end of September. And we will do this amazing walks through the city with Maurice Maggi. He's the pioneer of planting seeds in the urban parts of the city, because he realized already in the 80s that actually the cities, they have a huge potential regarding their biodiversity. And he was seeding these plants that are called pioneer plants that basically then paved the way for the other plants to grow. And we will be able to see what kind of plants grow in the city, and that there are actually as well plants for healing, and we can eat them.
Yes, I remember that I've read about him, and that you can actually go through Zurich and pick plants that you can actually put in your salad.
Exactly.
As
yes.
well. Well, Martina, thank you so much for sharing all that. I guess if you're passing through Zurich now or in the summer, you can pay We Are Awareness in Art a visit at Löwenbräu. You find the link to the website in the show notes. So thank you very much for subscribing to Swizz Art Biz as well, and for rating the show, as this helps it to be seen by others. This was Swizz Art Biz goes Löwenbräu. Thank you for listening, and thank you, Martina.
Thank you very much for having me.